Carnival share price is down 30% today, but it's 85% down since its highs just a few weeks ago. And Carnival Princess Cruise Lines has been particularly hard hit by the pandemic. Hundreds of passengers aboard two of its ships, the Diamond Princess and the Grand Princess, were tested positive for the virus. At least 8 of those passengers died. The company has now halted operations of its 18 Princess cruise ships. In fact, fleet-wide, Carnival has grounded the fleet, if you like. The chief executive of Carnival says right now the company is mostly focused on cash. Arnold Donald told me that Carnival is focused on minimizing disruption to workers' lives.
You know, for us right now, with pausing our sailings and also taking consideration for how long this might last, the critical thing for us is cash. So we drew down on our revolver, that's public information, and we're busy securing additional cash to make certain we can weather the storm however long it might persist. We want to make certain that our 150,000 employees around the world, many of them here in the United States, that their livelihoods are not disrupted, et cetera. And while we have no revenue coming in, we like to be able to maintain taking care of our employee base, and also to get back to sailing as soon as possible, because there are tens of thousands more, as you well know, who are so dependent on our industry for their livelihoods.
But are we talking here about an existential crisis? Are you talking about is there a real or serious risk of Carnival having to seek protection?
I think that in this kind of an environment, we don't know fully what the risks are. Hopefully, with the steps that the world is taking, the community spread can be mitigated and brought under control so that the health facilities around the world are not overwhelmed, and that we can all get back to normal life again in a relatively short period of time. If that occurs, our industry is resilient. We've gone through many things in the past. People want to cruise. They want to enjoy their vacation time. So if that can happen, we'll be fine. If it goes on for an extended period of time, and there's no reason to believe that that should happen, especially as you look at how things are developing in China, where it first became an issue. I think that if it persisted for a long time, then we're in a position now as a company, we have to think about our shareholders, and so therefore we are securing financing to make certain we can weather a much longer storm. So we have aspirations, but we have no expectations, for help from government activity like loan guarantees, et cetera.
Right, but of course those loan guarantees would require collateral and things like that on assets that are already encumbered in some shape or form. I mean, are we talking here about difficulty, do you think, getting help from the federal government?
I don't know. Again, we're hopeful. We have not made any particular, plans around receiving help. We're very hopeful. Obviously, the travel and tourism industry broadly needs the help. This has been devastating for the travel industry. It's certainly been devastating for cruise as part of that. And as I mentioned, so many people are dependent on their livelihoods, where you're talking taxi drivers and baggage handlers and so on. So we're hopeful that we'll be included and have the opportunity to have, at least a loan guarantee. We're not necessarily looking for an infusion of money, but at least a guarantee so we're able to access financing. But we'll see what happens with that. Either way, we're planning to, secure what we need to take care of our people and position ourselves once, this storm has passed, to be back up, exciting people once again, exceeding their expectations with great cruise vacations.
Every time I tweet or broadcast or talk about the assistance, some would say bailout, given to corporations, airlines or cruise industries, I get a barrage of emails and insults coming back saying these companies shouldn't be bailed out. Firstly, because they did huge share buybacks and that money should have been put into a rainy day fund. And second, because the executives need to take basically zero pay until the taxpayer bails them out. How do you respond to people who have that view?
My response would be, first of all, we went into this crisis with a great credit rating, a great balance sheet. So that obviously is serving us, pretty well now, given the circumstances. But it won't last forever. And the most important thing for people to consider is not so much the companies ourselves. Yes, we have 150,000 employees, many of whom are everyday people who are just trying to have a decent living. But we impact one job on a cruise ship is 4 to 5 other jobs out in the rest of the community. And so therefore we impact so many other jobs and so many other people. So keeping the industry strong helps keep those jobs available to people and help keeps America strong. And that would be my response. In terms of senior executives and so on, of course we're going to make whatever sacrifices we need to make to protect our people and their livelihood, those that partner with us, and then those that have invested in us. So again, we're optimistic, cautiously, on all fronts, but with fiduciary responsibility, we have to be prepared in the event that things go on for an extended period of time, much longer than anybody anticipates. So we are gearing up to be prepared for that. And we, like everyone else, could use some help. If we don't get the help, we'll do our best to figure it out on our own. But of course, we could use help.
What's the difficulty of running a company where you see the share price having fallen by some 70%? I know you don't look at the share price on a minute-by-minute basis. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But there comes a point...
Certainly not right now, we're not.
But just even today, you're down 25%. I mean, what is the practical problems that you face with a share price that has fallen so far?
The practical, obviously, it's a reflection of the market's consternation around the ability to continue to operate the company with no revenues coming in, having taken a pause, and people not certain how long this will last and how quickly it will recover once we begin to return to normalcy as a society. So that's what it reflects. We understand that. I think in terms of running a company, it's very basic for us. We have great people, so we want to retain our people. And number two, we need to get cash in. We have to secure financing so we can weather the storm. We've done a bit of that already with the $3 billion drawdown on the revolver, and we're seeking to do additional. The most practical challenge from a business standpoint with a very low valuation relative to where you are is if you do any kind of equity financing, obviously that's very expensive in terms of dilution for the current shareholders. And so that's the practical fallout of having a low share price. But most importantly for us is, number one, our highest responsibility and our top priorities are compliance, environmental protection, and the health, safety, and well-being of our guests, the communities that we touch, and our people, our crew on the ships, and our people shoreside. And so that's our highest responsibilities, and that includes their livelihood. And so we're focused on making certain that our people and those we touch have an opportunity to lead a quality life by being provided for through the work opportunities and employment opportunities that are generated from the business.
Final question. This will end one day, whether it's in May, June, August, whatever it might be. This is going to come to an end. However, the reputation of the cruise industry, valid or otherwise, Arnold, the truth, people will say the worst examples were seen on cruise ships. How does the industry, how do you manage to convince people that that's a myth, not a reality?
Well, I think the practical approach to that is sharing the facts. And the facts are, as you look at the spread, first of all, no ship inherently has any virus or illness on it. It's obviously people. And so whatever happened on the ships, originally came in from people coming on the ships. And so what we've done is we've have great protocols already. We've enhanced those protocols. We're working very closely with the Center for Disease Control and with the World Health Organization and other global medical experts to make certain we have a long history of effectively managing and containing spreads of illnesses on the ships themselves, and we've been set up for that. We have medical facilities on the ships. We identify early. We pre-screen before people come on the ships. And then we can show the facts on the actual number of cases of confirmed, COVID, and there's no evidence whatsoever that community spread was dramatically, enhanced by people going on cruise ships.
So
in fact, if you think about a cruise ship, just for a second, if you think about a cruise ship and you compare it to other forms of travel, we do temperature screening, we do medical records. You don't do that when you go to a movie theater, or you're on a train, or you're in an airport terminal or a subway terminal. We have, much more natural social distancing. Often people who haven't cruised think of cruises as these congested, places. That there's much more space and social distancing that naturally happens on the cruise. So we just have to educate, provide the information, and most importantly, let our guests, many of whom were trying to cruise up until the day we paused cruising. We had turned away a lot of people on the days we paused cruising. Let them, speak, for us because they know they experience it, and they can help those who haven't experienced a cruise understand it better.